misses. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
And the Squared Circle Digest is back, and we are here at the Miami Garden Studios. Sean Stanley here. A lot of wrestling action. I've been out for the last almost week now, 2 weeks almost. We had the Vegas trip, and then my daughter got married last week, so was not on there after flying back on Wednesday from Vegas. But tonight we had Raw, and then last night was Wrestlemania Backlash pay-per-view. So don't forget, you can be in on the chat here or shoot us an email at bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. Follow me on Instagram or Twitter at Sean_Stanley11. And I want to get things started with a little bit of talk about WrestleMania Backlash. That was last night. Overall, not a bad pay-per-view. A little bit predictable on the outcomes, and not a lot of storylines moved. But overall, the wrestling action, I thought, was very good. So, hey, thanks, Steve. I appreciate that, my man. Appreciate that. The wrestling action last night, Cody Rhodes took on Seth Rollins in a great match. Probably one of the better matches on the card. Cody Rhodes ends up basically what happened. Seth Rollins rolled him up. He grabbed the tights. Cody reversed it, grabbed the tights, got the victory. And we'll talk a little bit more about it here in a minute. But this is the one match that I guess you can say they kind of developed more of a storyline. They're going to keep it rolling. You saw on Raw tonight, Seth Rollins does come out and attack Cody Rhodes during his match with Theory. We'll jump in that a little bit. Omos did beat Bobby Lashley last night. MVP gets involved and has his big man, the Nigerian giant. They're calling him now Omos. He did pick up the victory over Lashley. And Dad, thanks, man. Appreciate that, sir. Edge over AJ Styles. Rhea Ripley joins Edge and Damian Priest now in the, what are they calling the group? Oh, my goodness, I'm drawing a blank now. I forgot what they're calling the group right now. Well, it'll come to me in a minute. But now Rhea Ripley did officially join the group. Rousey, I'm sure Steve Chapman loves this one. Rousey wins the I Quit match over Charlotte Flair. It looks like they're going to give Charlotte Flair some time off. So they did a angle where she broke her, fractured her radius of her arm. She said to Ronda Rousey, I'm going to send you back to being a mom. And then Rousey pulled her through the chair. locked in the armbar, and Flair said, "I quit." Madcap Moss picked up the victory over Corbin. I thought that match was pretty good, and the sunset flip at the end was tremendous by Madcap Moss. He has developed very well, and he's going to be a sleeper that might be able to work his way into more main event matches. I know right now they're just building him up with Happy Corbin and some things there, but ultimately I think, look, he gets some more ring time and gets some of more fluidity and a little bit more quickness going in the ring, and he feels it. I can see Madcap Moss going up into the main event picture. Not saying he's going to become champion, not saying none of that stuff, but he's got the build, he's got the charisma. He definitely has the athleticism, and now his ring work is starting to get a little bit better. So ultimately, I think you might see him work his way up into the main event picture. Again, not saying he's going to become a champion, nothing like that. The one thing, and then the Bloodline beat RK Bro with Roman Reigns pinning Riddle after Riddle did a top rope RKO on, I want to say it was Jimmy Uso. It might have been Jey Uso, one of the Usos. And then he gets speared by Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns gets the 1, 2, 3. Bloodline leaves victorious in the pay-per-view. Again, not a lot of storyline development at the pay-per-view. We did see on Raw a couple, I'd say, Lashley almost now are going to be in a steel cage next week on Raw. So you've seen that one develop more, and you'll see. I don't know how good that match is going to be. Hopefully it's just physicality, because it's going to be interesting to see those two in the cage. And then also you saw the Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins kind of advanced tonight on Raw. One of the things that made headlines for WWE, and maybe not the way they wanted it to make headlines, Roman Reigns, after the house show in Trenton, New Jersey, got on the mic. And if you haven't seen it by now, it's all over the place. He basically said it went viral because he basically indicated he didn't know if he'd be back in Trenton again. So, he kind of broke character and went on a thing there. So a lot of people jumped on it that, Roman Reigns is leaving. The thing with Roman Reigns right now, there was some reports that came out, and looking at the news right now, he's wrestled 3 matches on Raw and SmackDown. He's done 25 house shows, and he's on pace to do about 100 and something matches this year. So what they're reporting is that he's going to take some time off of the house show circuit. And since Trenton doesn't get a lot of TV, he basically was kind of saying there, a lot of people took it that he was leaving WWE and maybe going to Hollywood. Again, that may be in the cards as well. But ultimately, some people are thinking that it might just be him trimming down his schedule, and he'll be doing more of the, SmackDowns, the Raws, because again, he is the unified champion right now. So ultimately, you're going to have to figure out, he's going to have to probably be on Raw some. He's going to be on SmackDown, some as well. Can't be doing every house show as well. So if you are able to, and speaking of house shows, they'll be here July 17th. I think the main event is Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, New Day's taking on the Usos. Those are the matches I saw so far. But they'll be July 17th in Sunrise at the, Florida Live Arena. It's interesting the way they're doing it. They're doing 2 shows on Saturday, 2 shows on Sunday. The one's in Daytona, and then the one here. And then, of course, the Raw will be in Tampa. And again, Tampa usually gets there because most of them are based out of Tampa, Orlando area. So tonight on Raw, Alexa Bliss made her return. It's about time. Creatively, they just didn't know what to do with her. So she's been off for a while. She did get married. I mean, I'm sure some of that figured in there, but she was very upset with the creative development of her character. We'll see where it goes from here. She came back tonight and kind of had a squash match with Sonya Deville. Quick match, painless match, really. Just kind of threw her out there to kind of, I guess, get her feet wet with Sonya, see how it developed. And then Sonya is no longer now a executive with WWE. She'll now be a full-time performer. RK Bro beat the Street Profits to get the Raw started. I thought the match was great. It was a frog splash into an RKO by Riddle that gets the victory. Rhea Ripley debuted her new aggressive side, taking on Liv Morgan. And then after that match, It was Finn Balor against Damian Priest with AJ Styles. That's at ringside. So ultimately, I think what you're going to end up seeing, you're going to see, I believe, possibly, it's going to be Finn Balor, AJ Styles, and Liv Morgan against Edge, Damian Priest, and Rhea Ripley, at least for right now, to get this started, I guess, to kind of get to push the Edge, regime there a little bit. Cody Rhodes took on Theory, which Seth Rollins got involved again. More storyline development for that. Cody Rhodes cut the interview beforehand saying, hopefully this closes the chapter with Seth Rollins. If you know anything about wrestling, you know that's not going to happen. We're not closing the chapter on anything. Seth Rollins comes out, lays out Cody, so that one will keep going. Ali took on Ciampa, and Miz was a special guest referee, of course, cheats Mustafa Ali out of the match, and Ciampa wins that. And then Asuka and Bianca Belair closed the show with Becky at ringside. Becky gets involved at the end and throws Bianca into the steps. And again, it's just going to develop the storyline even more. You'll probably see a triple threat match, I think, here in the future, or you see Asuka against Becky, and one of them will be the number one contender. But ultimately, I think it's going to end up probably being a triple threat match: Asuka, Bianca Belair, and Becky Lynch. Which, hey, that ain't that bad either. That's a pretty damn good match if they do book that way. I wouldn't have an upset over any of them. Asuka against Bianca, not upset about that. Becky against Bianca, not upset with that. You do the triple threat, run it, not upset with that either. So it'll be interesting to see what they go there. Again, that's your Raw recap and your WrestleMania Backlash recap. I want to go over some other news and notes that are going on around the world of pro wrestling. Don't forget, you can jump in on the chat. Any questions you got, just make sure you throw them in there. And then also you can reach us at Sean_Stanley11 if you got a question there, or also Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. Just put in the subject line Squared Circle Digest or wrestling question, and we'll get back to you ASAP. Candace LeRae and Johnny Gargano are both now free agents. Candace's contract expired Friday morning with WWE, so now both of them are officially on free agents. Again, we'll see where it goes. The door is still open for them to return to WWE and to NXT. They had no bad blood. Everybody was happy with the way Johnny Gargano, put over, talent as he was leaving, and it left it open for both of them. And Candice LeRae has always been a professional. So ultimately, the NXT door, WWE door, is open for them to return there as well. Mia Yim and Sami Callihan, they returned at the latest Impact tapings. Sami Callihan was already under contract. He had gone off TV for a little bit. Mia Yim was released from WWE. Her, 90 days had expired, and now she is at Impact right now. Again, I believe it's going to be a short-term contract. Not sure 100% if it's a long-term contract or not. Hey, Frankie, thank you, my man, and it's good to be back. We'll be back here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday this week. So the Squared Circle Digest is back to its terms. I don't know if you just joined, Frankie, but of course we had Vegas, and then last week my daughter got married, so was not on that week as well. But we returned tonight. I originally wanted to return Saturday, but I messed up my studio here, and I was unable to because I didn't have all the equipment back up and in place. Steve Chapman, were you happy with the Ronda Rousey Charlotte Flair match? I have to ask you, my man. I have to ask you, did you watch it? I've been waiting for you to pop on there. I've been waiting for you to pop on this chat because I want to know what you thought about Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, the I Quit match. But as I was saying, Mia Yim did officially sign with Impact. It looks to be a short-term contract, but she's returned back. She was at one time the TNA Women's Champion. I'm not sure if it was Impact or TNA at the time, as Jade. So now, but she is going back as Mia Yim. And some WWE quarter one numbers were released. In quarter one, WWE generated $333.4 million in revenue. WrestleMania was the second most viewed on Peacock, only behind the Super Bowl. And in India, WrestleMania was a record 56.1 million people, a 29% increase over last year. And again, that's one of the markets that, believe it or not, AEW is trying to go into now real heavy, which is why they had, the incident they had where they had trying to think of his name, the basketball player debut and attack Samoa Joe at the end of an AEW. They turned the lights out. The lights came back on, and nobody knew who the hell he was. Nobody knew who the hell he was, and it just kind of destroyed everything. But the whole reasoning behind it was AEW is trying to get in the India market, and Sanjay Dutt and Singh, I think his last name is Singh. They are going to be basically who they're pushing for the Indian market. Sanjay Dutt goes over there and does a lot of the promo work and things like that. So again, if you look at WWE, they did a 56.1 million views of the WrestleMania and a 29% increase. So if AEW can go over there and break into that market a little bit, that might be a good thing for them. Steve said, not really. I like Charlotte a little more than Ronda. I think she wants a vacation, so she has a broken arm. We'll see her at SummerSlam. I think you'll see her after SummerSlam. I'm thinking more maybe Survivor Series. We'll see. Yeah, but it was written into the angle to, give her some time off. She's taking some time away. See how it goes. I'm looking at that roster, and they have so many people. I just don't know. No, it was a great match. It was a great match. I like the way they used the chair at the end, because again, just the arm bar and watching it, snap and with the chair involved, it was a very good match. You know what? Something I will say is, even though a lot of the matches were predictable when you watch the pay-per-view at the WrestleMania Backlash, it was still a very well, as far as the wrestling side of things, a very well executed show. The matches were not terrible. Omos and Bobby Lashley, again, it's a little bit of you got the guy 7'3", you got Lashley, built like his build is just amazing. And then when you watch it and he put the full Nelson on Omos, man, I'm drawing blanks on names today. And that was a good little feat there. And then you have him get, cheated by MVP. That was probably the one match where I was kind of like, okay, this is kind of dragging out a little bit. I thought I'd feel the same way about Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin, but I wasn't. I thought that match was pretty good. I thought and maybe too, because it was a chance to, I think they put it on right after Ronda Rousey and Flair. So everybody was up here. It kind of brought it down a little bit, but not too much. And then it led into the main event. So overall, I thought as far as the wrestling goes, it was very well, the way the card was put together. I think they did a great job of putting that. You had Cody and Seth started, Omos and Lashley kind of at second. Then you went Edge, AJ Styles. Then you had Rousey, Flair, Madcap, Mass Corbin, and then the Bloodline with RK Bro, and then to finish it off. So, overall, I think probably helped them out too, keeping that card a little bit. It still went to about 11 o'clock, but, it was a short card. It didn't have to drag out. After watching WrestleMania for 2 straight days, they put the card on. They took the card off. Steve says, not really. I like Charlotte a little more than Ron. Oh, no, I read that one. It was a great match. Yep. Who else will join Judgment Day? That is the name of the Edge group. Damn. Thank you, Frankie Fresco, because I was drawing a blank on that name. I have heard that Tommaso Ciampa would be the next member of the Judgment Day. Do not know where that's going to go. The two I knew for sure that was kind of in there was Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. You see them there now. Do they start again? I don't want it to turn into the NWO either. I don't want to have 75,000 people in Judgment Day. I don't. Right now, the 3 is working fine. Maybe Ciampa gets in a little bit more, gets on a losing streak or something. Edge helps him out. brings them over to Judgment Day and does something there. We'll see how that goes. Steve Chapman said they work so well together. They do. Yeah, Charlotte Flair she's a heat magnet too. That's the thing with her. She knows how good she is, and when you know how good you are, you can talk the way she talks because she can back it up 150%. I'm interested to see what they do with Ronda now because, to be honest, I hope they turn her heel again. I think she is a better heel than she is a baby face. I know you bring her back as a baby and all this, but hopefully she something clicks there and just turn her heel again because I don't believe in her as a baby face. She doesn't talk the talk of a baby face. You don't feel sympathetic. I've never felt sympathetic for Ronda Rousey getting beat up. I haven't at all. I mean, she's done the MMA. You've seen that end of that dynamic of Ronda Rousey. And after watching that dynamic, it's like, okay, let's go. And then when she does promos, it just comes across as, I don't know. She just can't cut a babyface promo. She's better off doing, like the Stone Cold style, be in the middle, be in the gray. Be in the gray, because that's the only thing that'll make it more believable for me, for Ronda. Bring her to Monday night and have her join. You talking about Ronda? Bring Ronda to Monday night and have her join Judgment Day? No, she doesn't need to join Judgment Day, man. Again, Judgment Day is going to be for your Damian Priest, your Rhea Ripley's, kind of the mid-carders that are kind of fledging there, not knowing what to do with them. Because you're going to see a lot of six-mans. And no one would see that coming because I don't think Ronda Rousey's that. Again, the whole thing with Judgment Day is the darkness, right? You can see that in Damian Priest. You can see that in Rhea Ripley. You could possibly see that in Ciampa. I don't see that in Ronda Rousey. And plus, she doesn't need anybody. She doesn't need a group or anybody, really. I mean, maybe a mouthpiece, maybe get her with Paul Heyman or something to have a mouthpiece for her, but and that's if she's not heel. If she's a heel, she does pretty good. She can cut a okay promo for a heel, but as a babyface, terrible. Because you're supposed to get sympathy, and nothing she does is sympathetic. You can't have sympathy when you're just there mumbling. And that's what she does as a babyface, kind of like she's very flat and very monotone when she's a babyface. Then when she's a heel, you can see that that's more her style. And as I said before, when that's the real person, you can feel it. You can see that coming. You get that confidence. Ronda has no problem inside the ring because she has a confidence. She does all that. When she's on the mic, that's where she has an issue right now because I don't think she's so confident, especially when she's the babyface. But I mean, no one would see it coming, Frankie. I agree with you there, but I think that would be a bad move for everybody involved because then you'll have Ronda and Edge in the group. That's two main names, and usually that doesn't work that well. I mean, yeah, you can do the NWO, you can do the Horsemen and things like that, but I don't know that would gel with Ronda Rousey and plus on SmackDown, you have to have her over there because now if you move her to Raw, you'll have Bianca Belair, Asuka, Becky, Ronda Rousey. You have four there. Flair's off SmackDown right now. If you're bringing Bayley back, maybe you'll have Bayley go to SmackDown, but you're hurting your roster as far as women. Now, if they cut up the branding, which, again, everything's pointing to them not doing that. I thought more it would if they had have done the unification of the tag team titles. I thought you could see more of the brand kind of wearing off and seeing, men and women on both shows. But with what they did with the 6-man, that changed all that. Also, as I said, July 17th, WWE will be here at Florida Live Arena. So hopefully, not hopefully, but I will be there. Derek, what's up, buddy? Not sure why your message didn't show up here on the message board. But how you doing, Derek? Good to see you again, man. Yep, we are back, and we'll be here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Goldberg and WCW, Brock from 02 to 04. Just have Rhonda say 3 to 5 impactful words, minus the B word, and she'll be fine. Yeah, but again, that's doing the Stone Cold, not the Stone Cold as far as 3 to 5 words, but it's making it gray, right? You're not doing the baby face of the promo. I mean, you could get away with that, but then you're asking, Goldberg and Brock were over with the crowd. Rhonda is over with the crowd to a point. I don't think she's in the Brock Lesnar Goldberg realm yet. But with some more, WWE machinery behind her as they're doing, I think you might be right. Maybe it's just 3 to 5 words and that's it. But she's got to say them, mean them, and then just leave. That's it. 3 to 5 words. Throw the mic down and walk out of the ring, or just leave whatever you're doing in the interview area. Let's see. Steve Chapman. I have to get something off my chest. I've had it up to here with the Miz. I don't need to see him anymore. He's just stupid. Miz TV is stupid. I wish he would just go away. Your thoughts? Steve, that's how good the Miz is. He's the annoying little fly that WWE keeps there. Right? When they want to be him, if they need somebody just to annoy the crowd, yeah, here comes the Miz. I really couldn't believe that they pulled it off and made him a babyface for a few months. When they made him a babyface for a few months, I was like, my goodness. This is the Miz and Mrs. When they first came out, they kind of switched the Miz over to being a good guy. He was getting cheered and the fans loved it. And then of course he went back to being the jackassery that he does. But that's how good he is. He is that. I mean, from when he was on, what was it, Real World, Road Rules, whatever the hell the show was that was on TV. That's what he's always been. And again, when you're that confident and that's who you really are, that's when your character can grow and you see it coming across. And now that he understands the business side took a little while for him to get to, but now, man, he's rolling 400 miles an hour. Steve said, let's see, it doesn't annoy me in a good way. It annoys me. I want to go to the bathroom or change the channel. I mean, again, but it's one of those things where for probably every 10 people that, will change the channel because of the Miz, there's probably 10 more that find it entertaining. And then that's why he's where he is, and that's why he's doing what he's doing, and that's why he got the Miz TV show. Again, there's very few people that have the gift of gab that the Miz does. The Miz is and again, don't mean this is wrestling wise or anything else, but his Miz TV, if they actually let it go and be a real program and a real thing, would almost resemble what Piper did, right? In Piper's Pit. If they let him go and he would just come in and just, embarrass and insult the whoever the guest was, which Piper did when he was the heel. That's this day and age's Piper Pit. And that's what he does. And he's very good at that, man. Let's see. Frank Fresco says Mustafa Ali, I think they're going to cut that guy. They just did budget cuts again. And as I just said, it's one of those things where, man, I get tired of hearing WWE saying it's budget cuts and cutting people. And then they release their Q1 and then they break records and get $333.4 million in revenue, but they're cutting people just because it's budget cuts. But hey, I mean, look, it's a business, man. I don't think Mustafa Ali asked for his release. They said no, and they brought him back to TV. He asked for his release in January. They would not give it to him. Frankie Fresco says Miz is very good on the mic. He's one of the best. One of the best. I mean, look, man, he's not everybody's cup of tea. He is not. But as I said, for every 10 that hate him, there's 10 more that tune in for him, believe it or not. And then I don't know if you watch The Miz and Mrs. I mean, again, on USA, they're going into, I think, season 3, season 4, of that show that follows Miz and Maurice around with their family. And again, it's a reality show. You see the other side of Miz. I think that's another thing that show has done for a lot of people is you can relate to him right now. You can relate to him. It's like what they did with the interview with Pat McAfee and Vince McMahon. If you can relate to somebody, if you can feel like, oh, well, you know what? I've been there. I've done that before. That's happened to me before. Now you start relating to them. They start becoming more humanized. And I think that's what that show has done for The Miz. If you watch it and you see everything, it's look, again, it's reality TV. I totally understand. It's set up to, put everything in good light and everything. But when you watch it and you see how The Miz is outside of the ring, and I get it, it's a show. I 100% probably not always how The Miz is outside the ring, but it does make him become more personable. Frankie said, I actually like the Cody show after AEW. It's one of those things, man. When you can relate and make somebody human, you get that I don't want to say a bond, but you start understanding, and you can feel what the character and things there is doing. Let's see. Kevin Owens is much better. Yeah, but it's a whole different. KO is just KO though. That's his character. He is this day and age is probably going to be what they're going to do with him is probably make him this day and age is Stone Cold. He's going to talk his talk. He's going to walk his walk, and you like him, you like him. If you don't, you don't. That's kind of what they've done with Kevin Owens. I thought tonight they did a great thing. They brought him out as his older brother, Ken Owens, because it was him and Ezekiel and all that. And they did they're doing that whole thing. KO is great, man. He can work in the ring. I just didn't think he would last this long because of his physique. He's not a WWE physique guy when you look at him. And he's lasted that long. So he does what he needs to do behind the scenes to stay in the good graces, and he just got an extension. And kudos to him, man. He's doing everything that he needs to do. Frankie says, I had no idea he had asked for a release. Why would they keep him? Again, man, it's a business, right? It's a business. Maybe they don't pay him as much as they pay another guy. And to put it into football terms, we've watched it in the draft, right? They get rid of the high priced receivers, and what do? They draft a cheaper one, right? So maybe Mustafa Ali is cheaper version of, I'm trying to think of somebody they might have just cut. It comes down to money sometimes. If he's there on a cheaper deal, then why not use him and cut the guy that's making more money? And then now we bring Ali in and have him run the same program we're going to run, with somebody else. It's just, that is the whole business side of wrestling. It's in every sport and probably every entertainment. If you have a character on a TV show and you can find somebody that can do the same character, you see it all times. I remember my grandmother used to watch soap operas. They would always replace the actors as one wanted too much money. See ya. They'll bring in somebody cheaper. And that's one of the things. Cheaper, just like the Finn signed Sony Michelle. Yes. I can't stand this Elias Ezekiel Kevin Owens segment. What's wrong with that Alexander? I love it. But I'm goofy like that, man. I love the stupid stuff where it's just like this. I just love the stupidity stuff like that. I love dumb comedy. I love all that stuff. So I think it's pretty good. I hate the budget cut excuses, but then seeing Mia Yim return to Impact, I feel happy for her, as that could be their greener pastures. Yeah, that. And then again, once you make your name in WWE, you can almost write your own ticket wherever you want to go, right? You can do Comic-Cons, you can do the meet and greets, you can do, anything there, so we'll have to see. We'll have to see where it goes for them, but you can pretty much make your own price. And sometimes look what happened with Zack Ryder or Matt Cardona, however you want to call him now, Matt Cardona. He left and he's making more money than he ever made with WWE. It's all about, you make that name, use that name, and go to greener pastures. I actually liked Ali when he had that group Retribution. Yeah, it was good, but again, I just think they didn't know who to put in that leader role. I don't think Ali was the guy for that. I don't. I think the leader of Retribution should have been Braun Strowman or somebody like that. Like somebody that could actually come out and be even a Paul Heyman. Somebody like Paul Heyman with a mind that would be like, they try to make it work. But again, once Vince gets tired of something, doesn't see it, doesn't like the way it was working, he already put the kibosh on and there was nothing you can do after that. Let's see. It was Retribution, Frankie. Carlos V says Roderick Strong's in that same boat that Ali was in, asking for his release. Can't blame him after watching AEW. But here's the thing, man. Everybody's talking about AEW, and congratulations, by the way, to AEW. I think they sold out the NJPW show with Forbidden Door in like 40 minutes or something like that. Now you can only get through third party sellers. But man, AEW, it's one of those things where, I mean, Rampage again this week was on 5:30 Eastern, only 229,000 views. Their last Dynamite was in the 800,000s. I mean, you watch AEW and you see what they're doing and you're like, but it's not showing and rotating over to the views, to the people watching it. And that might be a detriment to some of the things going on. And again, I mean, that affects your money that you're going to be getting for your TV rights and things like that. So AEW's got to be careful, man. You can't be, again, I don't know where they have all these guys signed to, your CM Punks, your Bryan Danielsons. I don't know where those guys are signed to, but I mean, you got to have some big money contracts there. So it's going to be interesting to see where this goes, because again, you've got, the Bullet Club, Undisputed Elite. You've got Bullet Club coming from Japan and things like that. And no, Frankie, I understand 5:30 is 2:30 on the West Coast, but they weren't doing that much better than they were only doing when it was on, at night. They were only doing 400,000 too. So, I mean, they cut it in half, and I get that the time, but man, their ratings are just not there. They've gone down consistently every week since February. Every week since February, they've gone down. And some of those cards were damn good. This last one, not so much. I didn't think they were going to do good on this one because I didn't like that. But ultimately, one of the things is that I don't know. I don't know how it's going to equate because, do they get a streaming deal for their pay-per-views where they can control that more? Are they going to get the contract in India? Again, because all that, those contracts and the TV rights, those were your money. Those are your money makers, man. If you get streaming deals and all that, those are your money makers. So we'll see, man. But I just they've got to look at some things, man, and they got to take some deep, hard looks at what's going on there and try to figure out something. I mean, I always say, they should have gone to more. And then again, the one thing that doesn't help them is being on TNT and TBS, and you have the playoffs and the NBA playoffs, and you've got hockey playoffs now and all that stuff. They're on the same network right now. So they got a lot going against them, so it'll be interesting to see where it goes. Do you find it strange that they're giving Veer jobbers every week, but no one else? I love it. I wish there were more jobbers. Love Veer. Well, no, but I think Veer needs to be built up. They're building up Veer correctly. That's what they're doing. To me, they're building up Veer correctly. I just don't understand. The one thing I hate doing is, and I'm glad they're not bringing up like the NXT. And I'm not sure if the guy today, that guy looked like he might be one of the NXT, maybe one of the guys that just maybe joined NXT and is still working his way up. But I don't like it when you feed your mid card and get them squashed, because then when you go to try to build them up, I'm supposed to believe that this guy that lost to Veer in 5 minutes is going to be challenging Theory for the U.S. title or challenging Roman Reigns. You know, again, I get it. It's pro wrestling thing. You know, you can write it however you want to do, but I still like, you know, logical stuff. I don't want to, don't treat me like I'm stupid. You know, that's one of the things there. Let's see. Derek says, so just curious, are you the guy off camera when I'm watching Big O? Yes, I am the guy off camera when you are watching Big O. I am the fat guy that usually pops in every once in a while. Ezekiel is the man. Yes, Ezekiel is the man. I think Ezekiel, again, the one thing that they had to do, they wanted him to debut earlier, but couldn't because he looked too much like Macho Man, and Vince McMahon did not want that. Yes, so build everyone up like that. I've been pounding the table for that. And again, I think maybe that's what AEW needs to do, and they do that with Dark and Elevation. Excuse me real quick. So they do that with Dark and Dark Elevation, but again, it's on YouTube. It's one of those things. And again, I don't know how old a lot of you guys are that are watching this. They used to do Saturday night main events. Saturday night on TBS from 6:05 to 8:05, unless the Braves are playing. All those matches were squash matches. You had your Barry Horowitz, you had your Mulkey brothers, but they were always that tag team that you knew they were going to lose. So they'd come out and you'd watch the guys that they wanted to push win. And then when they came to your town, you would get to watch them again, because they would build up the guys that were touring at that time on the loop. And then you'd want to go watch them. I don't know why they've gone away from that. I'm sure it has a little bit to do with money and things like that, and your budget cuts and things like that. But ultimately, I still think you could do those little studio shows. WWE did the same thing. What was their show? They did the Tuesday Night Titans, which was a show that kind of was a talk show with Vince McMahon, Lord Alfred Hayes. They used to interview guys, and then they would cut and show matches from different live house shows that they would have, and things like that. I'm trying to think the show that came on Saturdays, not the Saturday night main events. Superstars of Wrestling, I believe it was called. I believe it was Superstars, WWE Superstars. And they would do the same things. You would see they would usually have like Hercules Hernandez against, Barry Horowitz or whatever. Then their last match would be like Rick Rude versus Marty Jannetty. So it's two guys you knew, but then, it would be kind of like a main event, quote unquote. So those shows, I still think they could get away with that. And I still think AEW could do something like that. And then the one thing that AEW does have is they've kind of have a built-in jobbers. They do with some of the guys that they have. Your Lee Moriarty's, your the guys from the Nightmare Factory. What's QT Marshall's group? You have those guys. See, Best Friends, I like them, and I don't want to put them in that group, but they usually use them, and that's one of the things where I feel like Best Friends has kind of fallen into that rut of being that team that when they go out there, I don't expect them to win. I already know that that they're going to lose. It's the copy and paste for Veer that they did with Braun Strowman years ago. Yeah, we need more brick. Yep, definitely. Dwayne Gills, yes. Gilbert and Iron Mike Sharps. Yes, there'll never be enough of those guys, man. There you go. Wrestling Challenge, Superstars of Wrestling, and All America. Yeah, all those, Carlos. Yep, 100%. What did you think of Bliss coming back? I like it. I just don't know what they're going to do with her. She still has the doll. She's coming back with her old music. So to me, it kind of feels like they're like, hey, look, we're going to get you on TV, but we're still not really 100% sure what we're going to do with you yet. WCW had pro and main event on Sundays. I remember the main event on Sundays all the time. I remember Saturdays, but again, I mean, maybe in other markets it's on at different times. I just remember for me it was Saturday mornings. It was Championship Wrestling from Florida, and then at night it was, NWA at the time or Georgia Championship Wrestling. WWE was on it 1 week, and all those things like that. That's what we kind of had there. And then on WOR at the time with the Mets, we would get some of the WWE on that channel. That's one of the channels that we would get WWE. So, again, I mean, there's been a lot of those shows, and I think maybe they need to look at going back to that. But again, the thing with today is, I mean, with Rampage, it's on at 10 at night. What is there going to be? They need to get on the show like a Saturday at 6 or something like that, because just the ratings have got to be there, man. You just can't throw shows on to throw shows on. You've got to figure out, because again, with these shows, in this day and age of wrestling now, with your Raws, your SmackDowns, and your Dynamites, your Rampages, are you going to sit there and watch a full show of matches where you know what's going to happen? Can they make the show entertaining enough to keep you watching for an hour, 2 hours of people that you know exactly what is going to happen in that match? Because, when they bring out Wardlow and against Joe Schmo, what do you think is going to happen? Can they keep it interesting enough and not bombard it? Because I get tired also with so many damn promos, the vignettes and things like that, man. I can only watch vignettes so many weeks in a row. I think all the production they do are great. Don't get me wrong, but I can only watch that promo so many damn times, man. The vignette for the match so many damn times. After a while, it gets a little tedious. Frankie said, yeah, Bliss is a little less dark. Yeah, and again, a lot less dark. I'm sorry. Again, maybe that's the way they go with her. Maybe ultimately, I don't know. Or maybe something happens. The doll's still there, so I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe something happens with the doll. We'll see. Steve says they make Veer look invincible, so when he faces a superstar, people be on the edge of their seat hoping he gets what's coming to him. What better way to get... Yeah, and I mean, even you saw it today. The gentleman that he was wrestling got in a couple kicks, which is the first time I think I've seen any offense against Veer, and the crowd kind of reacted to that. He got him rocking a couple times, and then he went for something else, and then Veer hit him with a big body splash, like the Vader splash, and put him back down. So it's going to be very interesting. But honestly, I would keep this going, man. I wouldn't have him wrestle a superstar until, man, SummerSlam, somewhere around there. There's no need to rush him. There's no need to rush him right now. Just no need, unless you want to unless Vince gets tired of the gimmick and the character, then they'll probably ship him out to the wayside. Because again, it happened with Rusev, with when they brought Rusev in, or Miro, however you want to call him now. They brought him in, and then they had him versus John Cena, right? And then John Cena beat him, and then after that, what happened? Went downhill after that, man. That's the problem with a lot of the stuff, man. You build them up, and then when you lose, if you have them lose correctly, then you can make it happen. But to lose clean to, John Cena, not a bad thing, don't get me wrong, but it takes a lot of the luster off this guy you've been building up, and then all of a sudden he hits 1 AA on Mira, on Rusev at the time, and it's a 3 count. And it's like, okay, this guy you've been building up all this time, and this is what we got. But it's so strange to me that they do this only with Veer and nobody else. I don't get it. Because Veer's the only... They've already screwed up everybody else. You can't just throw jobbers in with guys now. I mean, that's the problem with Omos. Omos's first match was with AJ Styles. After that, you can't throw jobbers at him. You have to build them up the way they're building up Veer. The problem with Omos was he turned on AJ, and then that became his first feud. And not saying that's a bad feud, but it's like, what is AJ Styles going to do to Omos? And then from there, he wrestled the Viking Raiders. You know what I'm saying? Like you're killing your own superstars. It just makes no sense to me. But then once you already don't do that, you can't go backwards. You can't be like, hey, you just fought AJ Styles. Now here's Sean Allen from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. You can't go back. After that, it's just got to go forward, man. And I like the whole thing with Ciampa now attacking Ali. Ciampa and Ali, I can see those two going at each other is good. And then they have great matches. If they have great matches, now you're building both of them. You can still build yourself while losing. It doesn't just have to be, squash matches and everything else like that. But ultimately, you just can't go backwards. That's the only thing. Because then again, one of the things that I think, and I got to figure out how to word this properly. Sometimes I think WWE's biggest issue is that you're going to watch the pay-per-view no matter what. You just are. You pay your $4.99 for Peacock or your $9.99 or whatever it is, and you get the pay-per-view for free. It doesn't matter what they give you. It's wrestling. If you want to watch wrestling, you're going to watch the pay-per-view. It doesn't matter if we have 5-star matches or we throw Barry Horowitz against the Brooklyn Brawler. And I think that's kind of where the laziness, to me, has come into pro wrestling. And you see it with AEW where they're trying to throw, all these matches at you for free because they're trying to get you to spend $49.99 for a pay-per-view. The problem is, if I already watched it for free, why the hell am I going to pay you $49.99 to see the same damn thing? I love the buildup they're doing with Wardlow and MJF. I love that. I hope they don't mess it up. Do not let Wardlow lay a finger on MJF until you get to the pay-per-view, because that match alone is going to make people buy the pay-per-view. And then you throw, CM Punk and Hangman Adam Page, Punk's first shot at an AEW heavyweight championship. But you need to build it right to get people to buy it. Don't have CM Punk come out and lay out Adam Page. Don't have Adam Page come out and lay out CM Punk. Let him go face to face. Let the crowd, that AEW crowd will feel the energy. That energy, anybody watching on TV, it'll come out of the TV. It's the one thing the AEW crowds do, and the one thing that they do great on TV is you can see the crowd when they're excited, when they're feeling something. And that energy comes through the TV. And that match will make people buy the pay-per-view. I don't need to see guys getting laid out week in and week out, building up for 5-6 weeks to a pay-per-view. It was the whole thing with when Steve was talking about Charlotte and Ronda with WrestleMania. I just watched them have a backroom brawl where they laid each other out for 3 weeks in a row. They were laying each other out. I don't need to watch the match anymore. What else are they going to do? One of them will get a 3 count? Whoopee-doo. You've already showed me the match. I don't need to watch it I don't need to pay for it. But again, WWE is on Peacock. You pay the monthly charge, you go and watch no matter what they give you. How long can they keep this Cody Seth story if Cody already beat him twice? But the thing is, see, this is the thing where he beat him the first time because he was an unannounced opponent, right? The second time Seth tried to cheat him by hooking his tights, he rolled it up and he hooked the tights and got the victory. So both times, technically, Seth Rollins was screwed in the match, if that's how they want to build it up. As long as it's not a clean pin, that match could not have been a clean pin. If he would have hit him with the crossroads in that match and pinned him 1, 2, 3, it's over. but the way it was done allowed them to maybe run it back one more time. You know, ultimately, you saw it again tonight. Seth comes out and lays him out. So ultimately, you know, again, I mean, if it was clean, if he hit the crossroads on him and pinned him 1, 2, 3, done. You can't come back from that. It's like, for instance, last night, last night, Sunday night, Charlotte Ronda Rousey. That match that had to end the feud. You can't say I quit and then come out and attack Ronda Rousey on SmackDown. It makes no sense. You said I quit. So ultimately, they're giving Charlotte time off. They're doing, you know, the angle where she fractured her radius. Give her some time off. Let Ronda take on some more people, and then she'll come back, attack Ronda or whatever, and you go back to it. But you give a little bit of time in between. Steve says, whack each other with Kendo 6. Yeah, Charlotte took a beating. I'm sure for Double or Nothing, AEW would have some of the New Japan guys make cameos, perhaps Penta confronting Punk, or dare I say Okada and Omega. Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know if Omega, again, he had shoulder. Did he have the knee surgeries first and now he had shoulder, or was it vice versa? But my understanding for a while, he was cleared to whatever the first surgery was, he was cleared after that. But then he wanted to get his can't remember if it was shoulders first and then knee, or knee and then shoulders. But dude was messed up, man. He was wrestling just beat the hell up. But again, I think ultimately, yeah, you're going to see those guys. I don't know at Double or Nothing. See what angle they can run. I think at Dynamite now, you're going to start seeing more guys. And they tried to throw some guys on Rampage as well. Problem with Rampage is it's already recorded, man. You already know what happens. It's just not a good show for this age of social media and everything else, because you already know what happens. So you don't even need to really tune in. You can't do a lot of recorded shows. Like WWE did a SmackDown this past the weekend before when we were in Vegas was a recorded SmackDown. It did bad because everybody already knew you already know the results. I'm not going to tune in to watch it. I already know what the results are. Dusty Rhodes, shut up, Gordon, before I slap you. Yes, I love me some Dusty Rhodes. Greater good. Appreciate that, my man. Do you think AEW will bring a pay-per-view down to Miami? Man, I don't know, man. I don't know. They did the Bash at the Beach here, and they had to move everybody to the one side of the camera. Again, I won't say no, but the tennis needs to get better in Miami, I think, before they'll get a pay-per-view. They do great in Vegas, man. They really do. They make it and again, the one thing that they do with their pay-per-views, they make it an event, right? Especially, you know, they do the whole weekend. You got meet and greets, you got, you know, your access zones and all that stuff. So, you know, I think again, I don't know. We'll have to see. Again, that's different than a Dynamite or a Rampage or even a house show. So if they do a pay-per-view, you'll have people flying in possibly. It'll be, you know, like a trip or something like that. So I won't say no, but they'd have to definitely test the market a little bit more, I think, than Kenta instead of Penta. I got you, Carlos. No problem. I think they should do 1 week recorded and 1 week not recorded. Frank, I think that's what they do, because I was at the Miami Rampage tapings when they did the live. They did recorded before they actually did the live. So they do that right now, but man, and I don't know if they do that every week. I don't know that they do that every week. So, you know, it's gotta be one of those things. We'll have to see where it goes from. But, you know, I mean, ultimately now they're recording also at Universal Studios, the dark elevations. So those are recorded now throughout at the Universal Studios soundstage. Greater Good says wrestling needs to be like a macho soap opera. You got to have a story, and that's what. If you don't have a good story in there, man, it just gets old after a while, man. I love wrestling. I love everything about pro wrestling, the entertainment, everything else. But if you get a good storyline and you can have, people just eating up storylines, dude, nothing better, man. Dusty Rhodes and the Four Horsemen. I mean, dude, how long did they make that thing last? You know what I'm saying? I mean, Hulk Hogan against any international, Iron Sheik, Sergeant Slaughter, what else? We have Nikolai Volkov, King Kong Bundy, hell, Hogan against the Heenan family. Those, whenever you have a good antagonist, man, you can write some great stuff. Steve said, gotta get to bed, getting late. So in the words of the great Steve Chapman, so long from the Bay State. Great to have the show back. Steve, appreciate you, my man. On a side note, great win for the Panthers. Yes, I was very worried there. When I got 2-1 at the very end there, I was like, oh, boy, here we go. They pulled the goalie, and I was like, oh, this is going to be that 6-1 all over again. And then they scored, and then they got the overtime goal, man. So make sure you tune in the show in the morning because I'm sure will have a lot to say about that. And, man, I appreciate everybody that's been on here today. Frankie, Steve, great or good. Carlos, let's see here. Derek, let's see. Alexander, Carlos. Did I get you already, Steve? Yes, I did. And my dad appreciates you. Steve Rose, thank you. And, of course, it's great to be back on here, and we will be back Wednesday right after AEW Dynamite. In the words of the great Gordon Soley, so long from the Sunshine State.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines. If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597.